All right, good morning. Can y'all hear me now? Good morning. I love it. Hey, fit girl. Good morning. I had everything on mute, y'all. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I see you all joining. Good morning, good morning. So we're officially live on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Clubhouse. So good morning, Clubhouse. I see you all. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Come on in. Make sure if you are on Facebook, you are sharing. And so those of you who are on Clubhouse, we are live from 7:15 to 7:45. And then those of you on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, we are live on Clubhouse from 7:45 to 8:15. So if you want to have a conversation around what we're going to be sharing today, then I want to invite you to come on over. I know those of you who have Samsung and Android phones, you can't join us. But those of you who have iPhones, good morning, Marissa. Good morning, Sonia. Good morning, Kim. I miss you too. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I see you all. Hey, Deanna. Hey, Yolanda. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, Podcast Nation. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. So, this is your weekly, midweek. She said, don't rub it in. Your midweek jolt to helping you get out of your own way. My goal really is to help busy and overwhelmed women get out of their own way and get to the business of living so that they can get unstuck and get started. And so every Wednesday I come with a short message. And so today is a continuation of last week's message. Thank you so much, Nadina. Hey, Shakita, how are you? So if you all haven't taken an opportunity to share, make sure you share this, tag someone down in Facebook. If you're on Clubhouse, ping a couple of people in. But, you know, bring some people in. If you're on YouTube, tag a couple of people, share the link with some people, all the juiciness, right? And so I want to make sure that I'm sharing as well. But good morning, everybody. How is everybody? Just type in really quickly. How are you doing on this Wednesday morning? We are on the second, I think this is the second official Wednesday in March. And so last week we were talking about, you know, minimizing the madness in your life. And so hopefully you took what we talked about last week and you started to implement them. I want to let you know a couple of quick things. One-on-one coaching is officially open for me. I am taking new clients. And so if that's something that you are interested in and something that you have that you've been thinking about, I'd love to be able to sit down and have a conversation with you. If you're on Clubhouse and Instagram, click the link in my bio. Go to Instagram, click the link in my bio, and schedule your session. I do a 30-minute Get Acquainted session just to kind of see where you are, to see where you want to be and how we can close the gap, right? And so for me, I think it's important for us to have accountability. I think it's important for us to be able to have people that can kind of see things that we can't see from the outside looking in. And so if private coaching is something that, you know, you feel like you need in this space, right, to give you that push, to get you over the hump, to get you unstuck so that you can stop getting stuck, right? Let's have conversation, right? Sorting some things out and have clear vision on goals. I love that. Love that. Love that. Love that. Awesome. All right. So let's see here. Pull my notes up and we're going to get started. Good morning, everybody. We are continuing this conversation around managing and minimizing, not even managing, but minimizing the madness in your life. Good morning, everybody. Make sure you are following me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Also now on Clubhouse. Facebook, Instagram, and Clubhouse are at TrueheartSpeaks. And then YouTube and LinkedIn are my name, Detra Trueheart. Okay? Mainly because I want to make sure we are connected, and I want to make sure that if anything happens on one platform, you can find me on another. But if you're not on my email list, because that's the best way if social media goes down, I want you to go to TrueheartSpeaks.com, scroll down, get the free gift that I give, get on my email list so that I can stay connected with you. And that's where like all of the things that I offer, all of the things that I might be selling, if I'm getting something special or whatever between my Facebook group and my email list. But the email list is where I can always be in contact with you. So make sure you go to TrueheartSpeaks.com, get on my email list so that we can stay connected, be connected in all the things, right? All right. So let's get this party started. Let me pull up these notes. And hey Juanita, hey Tamala, good morning. So if you all have not taken the time to share, good morning. Hey Dana, good morning. Make sure you share. So last week we talked about 3 things, right? So I have a list of 7, but we talked about 3 things that you can do to minimize the madness. One of them was getting quiet and spending more time with God. The second one was getting quiet, spending more time with yourself. And the third one was changing it up. And so we're going to jump into number 4. And number 4, hey Sharon, good morning. Number 4 is focusing on one thing at a time. Focusing on one thing at a time. And so for many of us, I know about me, like for me specifically, I pride myself, right, with what I used to, I should say, multitasking. Like I can, and most of us who are, moms, like sometimes you got to do this while doing that. But if we can be honest, right, our focus is not where it needs to be when we are all over the place, when we are doing multiple things, right? And most of us don't know that multitasking really isn't good for the brain. Like the brain is a focuser. The brain does well when it's focused on one specific thing working at a time. And it really, like, you can't give, one thing, if you can't give your one thing your undivided attention, sometimes something gets lost, like it gets lost in the sauce. And so I want to, good morning. If I want to make sure that, if I'm focusing on, let's just say, writing a blog, or if I'm focused on sharing something on social media, and as a matter of fact, I'll give you another example. I am not a good cooker and anything elser. Right. I'm just going to be honest. Child, what was it? A couple days ago, I was cooking my favorite grilled turkey and cheese sandwich, child. And can I tell you, I walked away for a minute to do something else and came back, child. And one side was burnt. And I told y'all I cut that part off and folded it up and ate the rest of my sandwich. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes we got to make it work. But I realized, like, some things, if you give it your undivided attention, then you can focus a little bit more, right? And so sometimes the madness is trying to do more things than we're supposed to be doing. We have so many things vying for our attention at the same time, and we have to decide, like, to some extent, I'm going to do this one thing, even if it's for 15 minutes, right? Even if it's whatever the case is, right? And, we think we need to attend to everything all at the same time. And the reality is, child, we can't. If you think about it, right? Oh, well, I've been able to work it. I've been able to. But if you think about it, something always goes lacking. There's something that is never as it should be. I want you to think about that, right? Good morning, everybody. I see you all coming in. And so, Nicole says, I stopped multitasking to spare myself from the frustration. Right. Something always goes lacking. And so many of you have heard the acronym from FOCUS, which is focus on one course until successful. Focus on one course until successful. And so for many of you, the madness comes from focusing on multiple courses, right? And you're not successful. And so how do we, minimize some of the madness? We focus on one thing. Right? Maybe you're doing too much. Maybe you need to focus on one thing and one thing only, and then move on to the next thing, right? Once you've accomplished that thing, right? What's the one thing that you need to focus on? Like, what's the one thing that you need to focus on before you jump to something else? What's the one thing you need to focus on, right, before you jump to something else? Like, some of us will say, okay, well, I'm going to do a little bit of this and I'm going to do a little bit of that. What's the one thing that you can focus on before jumping to something else, right? Because sometimes, it says it is one human being trying to do so much. God is the only multitasker. He's got it all. Absolutely. Right. Nadina says, my business. Right. And many of us have been multitasking, but we're not. And here's the other part. Just because you have multiple things to do doesn't mean that you have to do them all at the same time. So for example, I'm not saying that you can't do multiple things. What I am saying is the things. So for me, if I have an email to do, it doesn't make sense for me to do an email, try to write an email and try to schedule social media and try to record a video all at the same time, right? Right? Sharon says, I do not like multitasking, but it's valued and seen as a skill, unfortunately. I don't know why, because you're not productive at multitasking, right? We're not, and I remember that skill, right? When people are looking for people, you look at the job description, it says, are you able to do multiple tasks at the same time? I can do multiple tasks, but not at the same time. Like if you need me to write an email, I'm going to write the email, right? And when I finish writing the email, then I'm going to go to the next thing. And so I think that we even have to reframe how we phrase things in job descriptions, right? People feel like, and just because you have multiple skills doesn't mean that they're all needed at once. Absolutely. And so I think that in order to minimize the madness, like you've got, and here's the thing that I think is so important. You've got to really decide what works for you, right? I think it has to be put in the correct perspective. Absolutely. Because I think some people look at it as doing multiple things at multiple times, but can you handle multiple things at multiple times? And sometimes you have to, but it doesn't mean you do them at the same time. And too many of us are doing them all at the same time. And child, at some point, personally, professionally, whether business or your job, your career, whatever, some of these balls are going to get dropped, right? And so the next thing that I want to share with you, because I want to try to get through the rest of these 7, I've got 4 to share with you today. And the next one is called Delegate, right? I love the one, Nakia. She says she's reading the one thing and it lists multitasking as a pitfall. This was the first time that I heard that. Yeah, it's a really good book. And so it's to delegate. So my question to you is, what are you currently trying to do that you can delegate to someone else? And so, I know a lot of us cringe because, for many of us, we feel like we're the only one. I don't have anybody. But the reality is that you don't have to do everything, and not doing everything doesn't make you less of a woman or a man. And so, whether it is, having somebody, bring you your groceries, like you order your groceries online and have them delivered. That's one less thing that you could do, right? If you can afford to do it, have somebody to come in and clean your house once a month. If you can afford to do it, get you a virtual assistant for your business, right? If you can afford, there are some things, child, you don't have to do. There's some things. And so I think it's important to decide what you can, what you can do and what you can't do, right? Think about how much time you would get back if you hired somebody to shovel your snow or clean your house once or twice a month, organize and file papers, right? And so if you can't afford it, then what are the ways that you can afford, right? If the focus is on building your business, Nadina, then what are the ways that you focus on bringing more cash in to be able to relieve you of the things that you need to do? If you've got if you are online, right, and you posting online, are you automating your posts, right? You spending 2 hours posting, you spending all day online. How much of that time can you take back? I'm helping y'all. You know what I'm saying? And so there are some things that when we say that it's something that you're not able to afford, how can you afford it? What are ways that you can minimize in one area to maximize in another area? And so, there are moments where you might have to do everything, but then there are moments where are you doing everything because I think somebody said it's in our DNA, right? It's in our DNA to be able to do that. Let me see. I think that's from the Facebook group. Let me pull this up. And so, if you're trying to do everything, then it still minimizes your ability to be able to do the one thing. There's some things that you're supposed to be able to do that you can't do, and because you're doing all the things. I'm just I'm trying to help us all out, right? I want you, when we talk about mindset shifts here, Nadina, I want you to refocus on how you can make it a choice. What ways that you can do things differently. Oh, that's Dr. T. Hey, Dr. T, I see you. right? She says, I think as women, we've been so used to doing it. It seems it has been in our DNA. Absolutely. Right? We've had to do everything. We've had to make it work. We pride ourselves in being able to handle all the things, but we're tired. We're, agitated. We're resentful, all the things. And so for me, I really want you to start looking, and that's all of us. I really want you to start looking at things from a different perspective. How can you stop doing the things that maybe you don't have to do, the things that only you can do? What does it look like for you to, maybe cut off one thing so that you can afford to do another thing? Right. And this is where, one-on-one coaching comes into play, where we can sit down and really look at what you're doing and what you're not doing and really figure out, okay, so how can we minimize the madness in this specific area of your life so that you can have some peace? And so the next thing is just saying no. So so we're on 4, 5, 6, and 7 for today, right? Of ways that we can minimize the madness in our life. And so the first one was focusing on one thing at a time, and the second one was delegating. What can you give away? What can you and the thing is, sometimes it really is not only, what can you give away, but what can you stop doing? And number 6 is just say no, which is a hard one for many of us, specifically those of us who do all the things. What are the things that you can stop saying no to? Who are the people you need to stop saying no to? And sometimes the reason why you're doing all the things is because you're multitasking your stuff and somebody else's stuff. I'm just saying, like, I want to make sure that as we close out this first quarter of the year, you're clear that, that there are some things that can be done, right? Listen, Kiana, we don't have time to be saying yes to everything and everybody. And folks going to say, they're going to be mad because people will do what you allow them to do. People will do what you allow them to do. And so I spend lots of time with clients, coaching them around saying no. I mean, we spend weeks, child, saying no. And coaching around, okay, so I said it, but I was supposed to, but I didn't. I spent like weeks coaching people around the word no. Right? My note says, learn to say no to foolishness. When foolishness calls you or tries to enroll you in the foolishness they're doing, say no. When you're tired and you need to rest, just say no without feeling guilty. It says when someone asks you to do something that you don't want to do, or it isn't in alignment with where you are in your life right now, say no. And many of us, the reason why we're doing all the things, right? Sharon says, I learned how to say no a couple years ago when you taught on boundaries. I'm actually going to be bringing some of those trainings back, Sharon, because I've, obviously, over a couple years, you feel like you've got some more to share, more revelation around that. So you all be on the lookout, because a lot of my trainings that I used to do, I'm bringing those back. It's going to be like a 2.0. So boundaries is one of them, emotional domination, a few of those, I'm bringing those back. Right? Juanita says, I had to learn to say no 5 years ago. Yes, say no to the losers, users, and the lazies. Child, listen, Linda. No is a verb. I do my thing in action. Listen. But there's still many who are still struggling with that word. They're still struggling with no. And many of the reasons why you can't do the things that you need to do is because you're doing their thing. And let me just tell you, takers gonna take, child. Takers are not givers. Takers gonna take. They're gonna take until you take back. And so for some of you, you got to take your time back. You got to take your yes back, right? You got to take what you've been doing back, right? You've got to take you back. And part of that is saying no. Right? Part of, as I don't call myself, you won't hear me say this, but as a life management strategist, helping you to manage life and the things in life, right? A big proponent of self-care is doing what works for you and not them. Y'all hear me say that all the time, right? You got to do what works for you. And sometimes you got to say no to you. Sometimes you got to listen. I'm going to say something that many of us may not. Sometimes you got to say no to you. Stop shopping on Amazon. Stop shopping on the Home Shoppers Network. Stop, some just because you have it doesn't mean you're supposed to do it, because guess what? Sometimes we get to a point where there's some things that we really need or some things that we really want. So people may say, oh, I really want to coach with you, but like, I don't have the money right now. Well, Amazon got that money. DSW got that money. Gucci got that money. Louis Vuitton got that money. Right? Bundles got that money. Lashes got that money. And so while you have your, emergency fund, you need to have a personal development or just a development fund where when there's something, like if there's a book that you want to buy or multiple books that you want to buy, right? How is it that you can start looking at it from a different perspective on how is it that I can afford to do the things that are going to make me better? Right? I'm just saying. Nadina's laughing, but I'm just saying they all got the money, child. And so when it comes time to have a conversation or to buy something or to invest in a course or whatever, right? To invest in something around your mindset, you got to shift your perspective around, how you invest in yourself, the time that you put into yourself. Right? Sometimes you've got to be able to take care of you so that you can take care of those you love and the things that you love. You got to be able to say no to the good so that you can say yes, right, to the great, the phenomenal, and the awesome. You got to be able to say yes to the magnanimous, or stop saying yes to the good when you can say, start saying no to the good when you can say yes to the God thing. Right? Sharon said, the last thing I need is another purse. Child, listen, purse, shoes, and hair, child, listen, that's it. Right? Or all the things on Amazon, anything that look like a thing that we need for the house. You see, know what I'm saying? Like, child, listen. And so we've got to say no to temporary fixes and temporary pleasures so that we can enjoy permanent pleasures at a later date. Right? We got to make the sacrifice now. And sometimes it is a sacrifice now, but it won't always be a sacrifice. Right? To be in a space where you have money to do whatever you want. It's not an option to decide. You know what I'm saying? Like, dang, okay, so if I save this, it's like, you don't have to, because guess what? If you have $2,000 or $3,000 saved up for personal development, when an opportunity comes for you to invest $1,500, the money is there. Yes, Kiana says the purse to hold your purposeful things. Listen, all of the things that we keep buying, put them in, right? The 13 lip glosses that are like the same shade. Can we put both hands up for that? Listen. Listen, Linda. All right. So let me get to number 7. We've got a couple more minutes. So let me just get to this and then I'm going to let y'all go and we're going to jump over onto Clubhouse. Is this helping y'all? I hope it's helping y'all, right? Because I want to make sure that, I'm giving you some things that you can think about, like when you leave here over the next week and really for the next year. But then I also want to position you in a space where it sets you up to say, okay, if this is a space that I need more support in, then I need to get coaching around that area. I need to be in a space around people who, can help me in that space, right? And that goes into number 7, which wasn't intentional, but it just worked out that way, is getting an accountability partner, coach, or mentor, right? Sometimes the reason that life is really crazy is because, in addition to the fact that you're not, delegating, in addition to the fact that you won't open your mouth and ask for help and let people know what's going on with you. You won't ask for help and you won't let people help you in the areas that you need. You won't get accountability. You won't get a coach. You won't get a mentor. Like, you're not in the right circle of people who can help you. And so I would encourage you to be in a space where a safe and sacred space where you can be accountable and talk about the things that, like, to some extent, like, suck. Like, this sucks. I need strategy on how I can transition from point A to point B. And sometimes you, as I've heard it said before, you can't see the frame when you're in the picture. And so if you're in the picture, there's some things that you won't be able to see from the inside, but that a coach or a mentor or even accountability partner can see from the outside and say, well, from the looks of it, it looks like you need to stop doing this and start doing more of this. Or it looks like you need to go take a nap. Or it looks like what, you need that. Right. And so trying to keep things safe in a space of secrets and hiding, and not intentionally, but because it's like, oh, well, we've never been taught that we can trust people enough with what we're going through. And so we hold it. And sometimes trying to minimize the madness is unattainable when we are not open to share what we're going through. And you got to have safe people to be able to do that. Right. I can't remember how she says it, but Brené Brown says that everybody doesn't get the right to hear your story. People have to earn that. Right. And so we just don't go out like just like a diarrhea of the mouth, just sharing all the things on all the people, because everybody can't hold right in a safe space some of the stuff that really is keeping us from showing up and really is causing us to it's really allowing us to stay in our own way. And so when you have people in your life that you can be accountable to, and that you can be transparent with, and that you can be honest with, and who can be honest with you, right? They can help you to get clear. They can help you to get unstuck. They can help you. They can tell you some things. And so I want to encourage you not to keep the madness to yourself. I want to encourage you to let people help you get clear, as you begin this journey of not only getting out of your own way, but minimizing the madness in your life. What does that look like? Right. And there will be different levels of madness, right? There will be different levels of different things. And so some things, child, you don't have any control over. But how do you minimize the madness while you go through it? Some things you can delegate. Some things you can give away. Some things you can say no to, but it's some things you got to live and walk through. And in the midst of that, you got to have some people walking through you with it. You've got to have some, I shouldn't say you can if you choose to, child, is your life. But I will say you don't have to walk this journey of madness alone, right? There are some times where there are seasons of madness, where there are things that are going on and you're like, what in the world just happened here? And so I want to encourage you to be able to reach out, to get coaching, to have a mentor, to go to therapy, right? If you need a counselor, go to therapy, like all the things. Who can you reach out to that you trust to help you minimize the madness in your life? And if you can't immediately identify someone, then you need to change that up, right? That was number 3 in minimizing the madness. And possibly invest in a counselor and a coach. Or a coach, or some people have both. And so as we close out, I'm going to go through all 4 of them again. So actually, I'll do all 7 again. Just for those of you who missed out, you can go back to last week's recording. Hopefully this is, helping you all. And so when we talk about minimizing the madness in your life, number 1 was get quiet and spend spend time or more time with God. Because some of y'all are already doing that, but you need to invest a little bit more time with him. That's where your clarity really will come to some extent. And then also getting quiet to spend time with yourself, right? So number 1, getting quiet and spending time with God. Number 2, getting quiet and spending time with yourself. Number 3 is changing it up. Number 4 is focusing on one thing at a time. You're welcome, Nadina. Number 5 is delegating. Number 6 is just saying no. And number 7 is getting an accountability partner, coach, or a mentor. And so if that's something that is of interest to you, I would encourage you to go to TrueheartSpeaks.com. Nope, it's TrueheartSpeaks.as TrueheartSpeaks.as.me/get unstuck in order to book a breakthrough session or get acquainted session. And it's 30 minutes. And it really just gives me an opportunity to see where you're struggling. It gives me an opportunity to see basically where you are, where you want to be, and what we can do in order to close the gap. right? And so there are multiple things that we work on. I have people who are stuck in the area of their faith and really figuring out what it looks like to dig deeper into their relationship with God. I have people who, are really just stuck in making decisions and doing what works for them, right? And being accountable, stuck in the area of managing their time. And so whatever, there are multiple areas, but my biggest thing is helping you to get unstuck so that you can get started, and then also so that you can get out of your own way and get moving, right? We want you to take action. We want you to be consistent. And so I want to invite you to book a discovery session, a get acquainted or breakthrough session with me. TrueheartSpeaks.as.me/get unstuck, because I don't want you going into the rest, even next week, right? The rest of the week, feeling like you've got to carry some things that you don't have to carry. Right. If you feel like you are in a space where you're ready to up level and you can't figure out what that wall is that you can't, get over, then I want to invite you. Right. I have a 90-day coaching program that I'm offering right now. And my calendar is open, and I really feel like in this space, it's March already. So if you think about some of the things that you've said that you wanted to do back in January or at the close of 2020, and you still haven't, child, it's not because of COVID. It's because there's some madness you need to be managing and minimizing, right? There's some things that you need to be getting unstuck from. You need to be unstucking yourself. That's my new word. And so I want to be able to support you in that space. Right? And so with that being said, I'm going to pray, and then I'm going to let you go. And then I want to invite you all to join me over in Clubhouse, where we'll continue this conversation. And so, Father, we just thank you for this message. We thank you for these 7 ways that we can, there are multiple ways for us to minimize the madness, but these are just the 7 that I wanted to share. And so I thank you for this time. I thank you for the space. I thank you for the people who are watching it live and on the replay, who are listening, and who are thinking like, there's some things that I really need to work through. There's some things that I need to, figure out how to minimize in this space. Maybe I can't get rid of it, but how do I minimize it so that it's not taking over my mindset? It's not taking over my emotions. It's not taking over, just my life. And so these are some suggestions. And Father, I pray that they would write them down. I pray that they would seal them somewhere, maybe put them on Post-its. I pray that it would be the impetus, it will be the start, the push that they need in order to take that next best step. Some of them, the time that you're pushing them into a higher level, you're up leveling them. And so some of the reason they can't up level is because they won't delegate. They won't say no. They won't change it. They don't want to change it up because what they've been doing has been working. And so I pray that this message would touch them. I pray that this message would push them. I pray that this message would jumpstart them. I pray that this message would help them get out of their own way. And so we just thank you for this message. We thank you for this prompting. We thank you for this push. We thank you for your presence. We thank you for your son. We thank you for deliverance. We thank you just for an opportunity to come to you and just seal this message. And so we honor you. We magnify you. We lift your name up, God, because for some of us, this is the beginning of a new beginning. This is the start of a new start, of doing a new thing, changing it up, getting quiet and seeking your face, getting quiet and spending time with ourselves, things that we haven't done before, or we need to do more of. And so we thank you. We magnify you. We lift your name up in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. So again, I want you all to have an amazing Wednesday. If you are not a part of my Facebook group, I'd love for you to come on over to Facebook and be a part of the iSpeaklife Society. And if you obviously are not on my email list, I want you to go to TrueheartSpeaks.com, and I want you to scroll down, get the free gift so that you can be on my mailing list. Obviously, I want to give you a little something. It's a 15-minute masterclass on 3 ways to get out of your own way today. And more importantly, if coaching is something that you're interested in, and let me just be very clear that I coach women who are ready, right? Ready to work, ready to invest, ready to be pushed, right? And so if you're not ready to invest, ready to work, and ready to be pushed, then it may not be the right thing for you. There may be some other options, in being in my space that will work for you. But you got to be ready to make the investment. You got to be ready. And not only just the investment monetarily, but you got to be able to invest your time. You've got to be ready to invest yourself, right? Time, talent, and treasure. Because I'm going to work you. I'm just going to say it. I want to coach you. Right. And so, but I pray that you have an amazing day. I pray that you have an amazing week, and I'll catch you on next week. Right. I was thinking about what day it is next week, where we'll have more conversation. And you can come and get your weekly jolt around getting out of your own way, get into the business of living. So you all have an amazing day. Join me over in Clubhouse, and we can continue this conversation around minimizing the madness in your life. I'll see y'all later. Bye.